Hello and welcome back. This is going to be a nice quick tutorial. We're just going to put in into our game level here. Our next sort of step is going to be to add in an elevator, like a lift shaft. So at the moment we have a collider that ends here at the start of the lift shaft. That's the end of this green line. We want sort of a platform here that'll animate up and down. And we want to be able to trigger that animation when we get to a certain proximity away from the lift, that the lift shaft will start working. Just to kind of look at the mechanics of that so you can implement that your own way in your own game. So at the moment, if I press play, my character can walk, and then when I get to the edge of the collider I fall off. So not very good, but you know, we're only building. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our moving platform here and drag and drop it in. So there's our moving platform. We should probably scale it a little bit on X. But there's a lot of things we need to do with this. We need to put colliders in the entire kind of on the lift shaft wall so we can't kind of fall out of the lift, etc. But we'll do all that in another tutorial. So I'm going to go add a physics 2D box collider. So now I have physics. So we'll just do a quick play and we'll see if we can actually walk onto this platform. So there we are, we're on the platform. So there's different ways to make this move. We can make it move just through in code, but I'm going to show you a different way. I'm going to do it with an animation. So I'm going to go to the animation window, and the platform is selected. So if I go create, I'll create an animation for the platform, and it'll also create an animator controller for it as well. So I'm going to hit create here, and we'll go to animations, and the animation we're going to create is called lift stop. So this is an animation of the lift not moving. So lift stop is here, so I just need to reposition this ever so slightly, and it will create a keyframe. Now that's it. I'm just going to have a single keyframe. So basically I'm just remembering this position in 3D space, and that is the entirety of my animation. So I want to create a second animation, which is it moving up and down. So I'm going to go create new animation, and we'll call this lift go. So lift go. And this is, so again, we want to remember this position here. So we'll move it there. So this is its starting point. And then I'm going to move forward in time to say 1 second. Now we'll make it a bit slower after we've positioned it. And I'm just going to move this down on the y-axis to about there, and Unity will have auto created a second keyframe. So I'm just going to move this forward and zoom out a bit and move it forward. So we want this to be maybe about 3 seconds, I'd say. So there it is on 3 seconds. Now if I press play in this animation, it will play from top to bottom and then jump back up again. So oh no, it's not doing that because it's playing the default animation. So lift go. So I'll make this our default just so we can see it move up and down. So, and it'll hop back up. So again, there's ways to loop around, but the easiest thing to do is actually to just make a looped animation. So to do that, I am going to go back to my first frame, which is where it starts, and I am going to, so I'm going to go Control C to copy it, and then over here, we'll go to there, we'll go Control V, and then we'll slide this across. And we'll make it, bring it up to about 6 seconds. And that will, so that's about grand there. So now this animation will play up and down. And it'll loop. Very good. So we'll go back to our animator controller, and what we actually want to do is make the lift stop our default, so it not moving. So set that as the default. Now we need to set up a relationship here to move between the stop state and the go state. So to do that, we'll create a parameter which will be a bool, and we'll just very simply call it go with a capital G. And over here we'll say when go is true, we'll turn off has exit time. When go is true, transition. Now I can, if I wanted, I can make a transition that goes back so that we can stop the lift. So when go is false, stop the lift. But just for simplicity, we'll just do it in one direction for now. So once we start the lift moving, then it'll bob up and down forever. So we have our animations, we have our animator, and now we need two scripts. One for the trigger and one for the actual lift to move up and down. So let's have a little chat about our trigger. So I'm going to take my box here and put it in, and this is going to be my trigger. Now I need collision on this, so I need the character to be able to collide with it. So I'm going to add component physics 2D box collider, and I'll just close this animation window. So when I press play now, I have collision, but I can't get by this box. This is not very helpful. So I'm going to turn this box into a collider that is used as a trigger. So I'm going to click is trigger, and now when I press play, although the collision will be registered by Unity, so it will, I can address the collision in code, it has no physical ramifications in the game. And I need to change the starting position of this guy, which probably means I need to change his starting position in his animation. So let's press play. Yeah, so sorry, just while I notice this, I'm going to fix this animation. So I'm going to just move this down a bit so I can actually get onto the platform. Okay. So we've set this box here to be is trigger. So now what we want to do is we want to give it a script. So I'm going to give it this script here called L1 lift, and we're going to go look at that script. And L1 lift is this script here. So it basically says there is a game object called a variable. It's a game object, and what we're going to do is we're going to send a message to that game object. So it's called lift, and then here we're going to go lift, send message, go. So this says on trigger enter 2D. So when I collide with something that's set to be a trigger, and if not this object, but if the other object that collides with me, if the other object has the tag player, then do this. So send a message to the lift saying go, and then the script that goes in the lift is going to have this on it. It's going to have a public animator so it can access the animations, and it's going to run this function here, go. So it's going to receive this message. So we'll go void go animator, so this one here, set bool go equals true, and we've said if go is set to be true, then transition from stop to go. So let's just set up these scripts here properly. So this is our trigger. So we'll call this trigger so it's not too confusing. So we'll call it trigger. And the trigger wants to send a message to the lift. So here's the lift here. So we'll drag that in here. And now the lift itself needs a script, and that script is called lift go. And it needs to access this here, this animator controller, which is this one here, moving platform. So the easiest way to get that in there is to click on the little circle and pick moving platform. Now the last thing we want to do is we want to select this guy here, and I'm just going to turn off his sprite renderer so we can't see him. So it's now an invisible space. So basically as we walk through our invisible space, we trigger the lift to move up and down. And we will move down with it, and back up with it, and down we go. So there we go. So we are 10 minutes has taken us to set up a platform that is animated, that will move our character up and down, and that we can trigger the beginning of that animation by colliding with an invisible object. So that's all for now.